Hey everyone, how's it going? Shuffle's back here with another video, and today we have the balance adjustment preview. I haven't looked at it yet, so we're going to look at it together. Excuse me. I did just get a notice. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning here. I did just get a notice that these were live, so we're going to look at it together. I have a brief idea of who's getting buffed, but I don't know what any of the buffs are. So let's jump over here. Dev notes. So same as we always do this video, we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to work our way up. What is targeted here today? We got DJ Basar, Choux, Crimson Armin, Troublemaker Crozet, Kiwana, Helga, and Mercenary Helga, with the artifacts being Eternus and Black Hand of the Goddess. Star? What does that mean? Does that mean their awakenings are changed, maybe? Anyway, let's scroll right down to the bottom. I don't really want to see the comments either, so we'll try and rip through this. This part we'll look at the end, because that's going to change things. Alright, so first things first, Eternus increases CR of the caster by 8% when a debuffed ally, except for the caster, starts a turn. That's going to be buffed up to 12%. I mean, I guess it's not nothing. It's a 50% increase. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what ML Lilibit already does. So, I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't know if that'll make that used or not, but we'll have to see. Moving on up, Black Hand of the Goddess increases critical hit chance. Sorry, the caster's critical hit chance increases by 24% at the start of battle. Decreases by 2.5% every time caster attacks, down to 12. Now this is crit chance and crit damage by 24% at the start of battle. Does it say... It doesn't say anything about potentially going over cap. So I doubt you could go like 374 crit damage on this. But that's kind of nice. 24 crit damage is very significant, especially in a cleave. So if you're trying to cleave, I think that's a mage artifact, I'm pretty sure. So if you're trying to cleave, that's a big deal. Yeah, crit rate and crit damage. You wouldn't want to use that in longer fights, but for first turn comps, that could be really, really scary if you happen to have a maxed one. Who is this? Mercenary Helga. Yeah, I'm okay with her getting a buff now I think about it. I don't see anybody using her, so it's probably good. Attack chain. So they buffed all 3 skills. So attack 1 or skill 1, they just boosted damage on her skill 1. Skill 2, speed rune, used to increase damage dealt by attack chain, which is, I guess, so that's a passive. Used to increase the damage of skill 1 by 5%. Now, when using attack chain, if all allies are earth element heroes, increases CR of the ally with the highest attack by 30% when using skill 1. So I guess if you're using her in like Banshee or something? Like when are you using all earth heroes? That's strange. I don't know about that. That's a very strange change to the passive. I assume the fact that what it was before was is now the damage that was already increased. So she gets that without her passive. But that passive is so strange now. Has a 100% chance to increase critical hit chance of the caster for 1 turn when the caster's health is 70% or more. Very strange. Very, very strange. I don't know, man. What do they have to say about this? Because that's weird. Speed. Oh, these aren't her skills. This is her skill. These are her runes. So I guess that's okay. I mean, it means they didn't really buff the skills. They just buffed the damage on this one. I guess. I don't know if that makes her usable, though. I think she's still kind of bad. We'll see, though. Kiwana. Kiwana, I'm surprised they're buffing. This one shocks me because they just announced ML Kiwana. Why? Like, normally when they're releasing an ML, they're not buffing this unit right before. I mean, if they're going to buff her, I think it's a good thing because otherwise you would have just fed all your imprints before the new unit came out. But let's see what she does. Attacks all enemies. It is now speed-based damage on her S1, and she can soul burn into an extra turn. That's not her S1, though. I don't know what skill that is. Because that's an AoE. I know she doesn't... I'm pretty sure she doesn't have an AoE on skill 1. Attacks enemy with Flame Guardian, dispelling 2 debuffs before stunning for 1 turn. When all allies are fire, increases CR of all allies by 20%. Damage dealt increases proportional caster speed. That's kind of interesting, actually. I feel like that makes her really good. The problem is that it's still, like, she's still conditional upon being with all fire units, which is part of the problem. The CR boost, the two buff dispel and stun are all nice. The fact that her damage is based on attack speed, but I feel like they're kind of building it for PvE, and then its soul burn grants an extra turn. So you're not soul burning usually in PvE. That's another weird one. I don't know, man. This is a weird balance patch so far. Hopefully, as we get up to the units that people are more excited about, this gets a little crazier. Whoa. Oh, this is okay. We'll look at that in a second. Now, Crozet, I don't necessarily think he needed a buff, so I'm a little surprised to see him on this list. I know he's not getting used much, but we will see what happens. So this is his S1. That now, when it's not his turn, effect chance increases by 20%. If you've ever faced a Crozet, you know he counters and he stuns all the time. And teams up and, like, he gets a lot of extra turns. An extra 20% chance to stun on a team up or on a counter makes him a real crazy stun bot now. That's really annoying. I think that in itself probably makes him better. And you'd probably see him more if that's all they did. But as is their normal go-to procedure, they're going to buff all 3 skills here. Let's see what this second skill does. Chivalry. She's 40% of the damage, which is the same. Only damage distribution will affect... only the highest damage distribution effect will be applied. It's on the back row, as always. When the ally in the back row is attacked, increases CR of the caster by 15% and 35% chance to counterattack. So the counterattack was still there. But he now gets if the back row unit is hit, he gets a 15% CR boost. That's nothing crazy. He's kind of slow, so it's kind of nice. I think normally you try and kill him first, so I don't know how it's going to change things. And then he gets an extra soul from his skill 3, which is not a big deal, so that's not too bad. I was worried that they were going to buff all 3 skills with big buffs, and he was going to be crazy, but I mean, the extra chance to counter is annoying, but it's nothing too ridiculous. This is just his AI. He's going to obviously prioritize debuffed allies or the lowest health, and then the lowest health, and then on himself. Interesting. Alright, that's not too bad. I have one. I have one of him. I just haven't built him. I just wish I had the molas. I have him max skilled on my baby account. Maybe we'll use him a little bit more. I kind of like him with Spez, to be honest. Crimson Armin. Remember back when Crimson Armin was a thing? Alright, what's she gonna do here? Attacks with a large shield. 75% chance to provoke. That's now a 100% chance to provoke. And instead of this being critical hit damage, it's all damage. So they didn't buff her reduction again. If you were around before, she used to have like 30. I think it was 30% critical hit reduction at one point. But now this is just reduces all damage. So the wording of these is when more than one damage reduction effect is granted, and that is damage reduction. It's not just critical hit damage reduction or critical damage reduction. So you won't be able to pair this with Aureus. It's still, or sorry, with Adamant Shield. It's still the same thing. They won't overlap. But it is interesting that it's not critical hit damage anymore, and it is just damage. So that would also decrease things like fixed damage skills, like Crow, ML Haste, stuff like that. It would reduce that kind of damage. So she could be good against those sort type units that don't need to crit in order to do damage. That's kind of fun. It at least makes her different. She's not just, instead of taking Aureus, you could bring her maybe in different situations now. This one surprises me. So anyone that ever has watched me stream has seen me use Choux in RTA, and I think she's really good in RTA. I realize she doesn't get used very often, but she's already really good. A lot of times when I bring her in, she gets banned. I've even had her pre-banned at times because people didn't want to face her. The fact that they're buffing her is a little bit scary. That being said, a lot of people just don't like her as a unit. They don't like her art. So maybe they'll buff her and she'll be really good and nobody will build her. And I can abuse that in RTA. That'd be fantastic. Let's take a look at what she does. Her skill 1 attacks the enemy with a spear before increasing caster CR by 20%. Damage dealt increases according to caster's max HP. Now, a critical hit will double the amount of focus gained. Damage dealt increases according to caster's max health. That's kind of interesting because that's the one thing that's kind of annoying is that in terms of her focus, you want her to get max focus in order to skill 2, but usually you have to skill 3, then you have to skill 1 twice, and then you have to skill 2. Now, if you get double, you can do her skill 2 a turn earlier, so this doesn't sound like much, but being able to do it a turn earlier is huge. Also, if you happen to get a team up in there, or if you run her on counter and she counters, all of a sudden she's got max focus a turn, like 2 turns earlier. That's really good. I like that. And a good change. I think if you were going to buff her, that's kind of important. It's this second skill that scares me, and I can already see what it's going to do, and I think this is kind of busted, but we'll see. Attacks enemy by wildly singing spear, penetrates defense by 50% instead of 30%. All these ignore defense skills, man. That, when she burns into her skill 2, it does crazy damage. I'm shocked. Oh, wait. Okay. It's not as big. It's not as big as I thought it was. I take that back a little bit. Before, when she had max focus, she ignored defense by 50%. But now it's just making it so it always does that much damage. Difference being, when she has max focus, she also recovers health. Okay, so they're not doing both. It's not a damage increase and a HP increase. It's just you're getting the damage automatically instead of having to be at max focus. So if you just need the damage, you don't need to be at max focus. You can just do it, but you won't get the heal at that point. So potentially you could S2 on turn 1 if you really wanted to, and then cycle back around to it. Yeah, and it also still resets the own cooldown, so not too bad. That's interesting. Let's see what they have to say about her here. And the damage is according to damage dealt too. Sorry, the heal is according to damage dealt, which is interesting. I don't know. I think that's good. It's not too broken. She's definitely better, but it's not too broken. I was worried that it was going to be there for sure when I saw the jumping from 30 to 50%, but you're not getting the extra 20% anymore when she's at max focus. And it's easier to get there, which is nice. So you might still want to wait, but you don't have to feel like you're going to miss damage because of it if you don't. That's good. And it'd be interesting to see how much that heal is for. All right, the one everybody's been waiting for, the one unit who needs the buff probably the least right now, and they're buffing her, is Crazy. Before I even read this, what I said that I thought if they were going to do anything to him is they should make his either make his skill 3 heal or just take away his passive. He shouldn't have a passive. Give him a skill 2. Why is his if you read his before passive here, it says dispels all debuffs. Wait, that's not his passive. I don't know which one his passive's called. Bastard Roars is skill 3. I think the Everlasting Oasis is his passive. But this is a good... Anyway, let's get into what they're doing. So, this is a big change, and DJ Basar users are going to be really happy about this, because one of the problems is when you used his skill 3, it's a spectacular skill, but it doesn't heal. So, you need to cleanse, but usually if you need to cleanse, you also need to heal. Now, it's going to recover health on any attack. So that includes his skill 3. So when he skill 3s, he will heal. And the heal is now increased as well. So he's going to heal more, and he's going to heal on his skill 3 as well. I think that's a solid change. He didn't really need it. He's already really good right now, but that's fair, and I've used him a little bit on somebody else's account, and having that heal on skill 3 will be nice. Hopefully the heal's not too crazy big, but still a nice change. So he acquires an extra soul now with his skill 3. Also, additional effect, when this skill is available, decreases damage suffered from a critical hit by 30%. When more than one damage reduction is effect, the only strongest is applied. But that means that if you're bringing him into cleave comps and you have him super high res, which is what you have to do with him, you don't really have to worry about him being overly tanky because he can reduce his own incoming damage now, so he's not just going to get one shot. And then he uses his skill 3 and he goes back to normal. But at least it lets him get that skill 3 off. I think that's a good change too. These are not crazy. And that's the last buff on the list. We're going to go back down to the changes at the bottom just to see what changed there. But I really, out of the units to get used, you've got him, you've got Choux, and you've got that Black Hand artifact, and potentially Crozet. None of these buffs are crazy. I don't think anything's overpowered. Just a little bit of slight balancing, which is a way I think these should go. It's weird that they decided to buff him over some of the units that I thought needed it. But I can't complain. It's not too bad. I wish I had him. I wish I had him when he first came out, but especially now after the buff, that's really nice. The Choux buff's really nice. At least it gives Crimson Armin some sort of a place, potentially. Him being able to counter more is kind of nice as well. I don't know about that Helga buff. This Black Hand of the Goddess is interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. We'll have to see how that works. That's a lot of extra crit damage for turn 1. I still think it'd be great during cleaves. So here are the new... Okay, these are all new awakenings. So they're changing the Soul Weaver awakenings. So this is what a lot of people wanted. This is actually a huge buff. So bigger than DJ Basar's buff that he got is this. So don't sleep on him. A lot of people have a hard time gearing him. Part of the reason being is that he awakens into attack for no real reason. Now he awakens into 18% resistance instead of the 9% attack. So it's going to be so much easier to gear him now because he doesn't need to be as tanky and he doesn't need the 18 res. That is a massive difference. Same with Tamarin, but who cares about Tamarin? That 18% is quite significant. Bingo, interesting. Bingo's losing his res awakenings and getting more base attack. Very little, but he's getting something, which is interesting. Same with Anos and Inject. Less res, more attack. And Rekroar is getting more res and less attack. That's a strange change. Would have guessed that would have been the opposite. But yeah, that's interesting. So I think the winner of this one is definitely DJ Basar now. It was DJ Basar and Choux at one point, but that res change is enormous for him. It's going to make him so easy to gear now. No reason to hear people complaining about DJ Basar needing a buff anymore. He is officially top tier against all these crazy debuff teams. And I think now with the awakening changes, probably makes him better than Ray, which he should be. He's an ML. So yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below in the comment section. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you all. Hope you have a great night, and we will see you all next time. Bye for now, everybody.